Bitch, what's up? What's the stuff? Shit, they keep on leveling up. There's no rush, life is precious. Fuck that usury. All they talk is the screamy shit. I just like the bitch, and yet this way you still listening. Pockets going up, watch your eye in the drop shit. Where they expect us, I got a lot of fucking Spider-Man. All I know is trouble in the damn man.
What is up, my archfiends of chaos? This is your king of the night, Vincent Valentine EX Tur. And I'm kind of slowed down by the food I've just eaten, so that's why I'm all slow and chill out. But we're going to be talking about the Final Fantasy TCG, the trading card game aspect of the series, and top reasons why that there's not going to be an Opus 15 or Final Fantasy 15 structure deck, or anything dealing with 15, at least for now. It could change. Remember, it could change. It could change. So, we don't know exactly if, when we're going to get the rights to, the trading card game is going to get the rights from, Nomura and the artist. Now, the artist may have approved for 15 because it was an independent artist. But, Nomura does not approve. He still owns the right to Final Fantasy 15, even though Tabata was the one who published 15. But thanks to one of the reasons why we're not going to get a Final Fantasy 15 Opus at all, whether it's the structure deck right now, and this is only for now, so I'm going to get started. The first reason, there's two people that co-own Final Fantasy 15's art. The artist, I forgot who the artist's name was. The artist and Tetsuya Nomura. And problem with Tetsuya Nomura with Final Fantasy 15, he hated the game. If he had sub-control, he wouldn't have been. He would have made sure Tekken wasn't going to use Noctis. And originally, Noctis was not supposed to be in Dissidia at all. But Team Ninja bought the rights to using Noctis, so they could pretty much use any Final Fantasy 15 character. But most of all, the reason why we're not going to see Final Fantasy 15 in the trading card game is mostly Nomura hated the game because it was snatched out under him, and Tabata was the one who produced the game, and it didn't turn out the way Nomura wanted. It didn't turn out his vision, so Nomura resents not only Hajime Tabata, but Final Fantasy 15. And understandably so. I'd be mad if I was to make a game and I was working on it and someone just took it out of me and then made it worse and then made it like an infamous product as well. Even though I enjoyed 15, it still has infamy, considering how the game was short and they released pieces using microtransactions to make you buy the pieces. Even though the pieces were good, we should theoretically dust. Okay, now back to my video. Theoretically, it just didn't turn out really good for Nomura. So Nomura hates Final Fantasy 15. So, even though he couldn't stop the rights from going into Dissidia, he couldn't stop the rights from Noctis making it in Tekken 7. He couldn't stop, he couldn't stop those rights. But he can't stop the trading card game because you do need artwork to use to make trading cards. Technically. It's kind of like, why the original Yu-Gi-Oh cards was not released in America. Because it's made by a different publisher. And now, when you're doing trading card games, you're pretty much using art. So, it's a lot more copyrighted than anything else. More copyrighted than games, videos, movies, and music. Because of that, and since we could get the artists to approve, because I'm pretty sure the artists would approve, but the problem that lies within the Final Fantasy trading card game is Tetsuya Nomura. I mean, after this, I'm pretty sure his relationship with Tabata is really bad. Like, I'm pretty sure him and Tabata got beef with each other. but pretty much, nonetheless, nonetheless, Nomura's not gonna ever approve, and if it is, it's gonna be a long fight. You know, it's gonna be how Marvel was fighting with Sony to get the rights to Spider-Man back, fighting the rights to get their X-Men and Fantastic Four back from Fox. See, that's the whole problem with copyright. Copyright became so cancerous that it's hard to do any kind of projects now, because people hold so much sacredtivity, and because 15 didn't end up being anything Nomura envisioned. You know, Nomura had a envisioned story for 15, but because it wasn't the intended story for 15, Nomura doesn't like the game. I'm pretty sure you could actually troll Nomura by sending tweets about how Final Fantasy 15 is good, considering the fact, you know, he hates the game, considering the fact it was snatched from him and it wasn't what he wanted. In fact, the game was changed so much, because when 15 was supposed to come out under Nomura's jurisdiction, it was really supposed to be Versus 13, just a little bit better. It was really supposed to be Versus 13, but a lot better than, you know, the original Versus 13 concept trailers. You know, when Nomura actually had his rights still secured. You know, he was actually happy when you saw the interview thing on E3. Well, I think it was E3 2016. I can't remember. It's not 2017 because 15's already been out 2017. But I think it was 2016 it happened. But nonetheless, we're not gonna. And then not only that's another reason besides Nomura hating it. And then there's also the other pending contractor to Final Fantasy 15, the man who made the artwork for Final Fantasy 15. Since it's not done by Square Enix, it's done by an actual independent artist, we would have to get the approval, and we don't know what he would say about us using Final Fantasy 15 for the trading card game. And the other reason why Final Fantasy 15 is never going to become part of the trading card game Opus is also they don't know what characters would be what element as well. Now, it would make sense for Ravens to be Thunder, considering we've seen him in episode Ignis using lightning, but we don't know what elements the characters would be. Arden could possibly be one of the most OP cards in the game, most likely, and the most expensive, so considering it's probably going to have an OP status, you know. Such as, if you keep sacrificing backups, you can keep Arden on the field without having to block, or something ridiculous. But nonetheless, you know, that's another reason too, is that the Final Fantasy 15 characters themselves are OP, and I'm pretty sure future Noctis would have the same exact thing as well. So they couldn't figure out what character would be what element as well as the copyright to two-party developers, one that made the artwork and one that made the original concept for the game. Now, we don't know, and I guess that makes sense because okay, let's just say the Final Fantasy TCG group actually got the rights for 15. Let's just say they finally beat it to Nomura until Nomura surrendered and just like, do what you will, and they got the artists to approve. What elements could these characters actually play as? I mean, I guess the Gladiolus is an Earth because, you know, of strength. Prompto will most likely be Fire. Ignis would be Ice. Noctis would probably be Light, or would probably be most likely Light, so Noctis would be a rare. I doubt he would even make the structure deck if they made a structure deck, just on the fact that Noctis is kind of the most OP protagonist for Final Fantasy games. I love Noctis, but I gotta be honest, Tabitha Mary sued him so badly, so then make him a Light. And if you don't know what the Light cards are in the Final Fantasy TCG or Dark cards, they're pretty much like the God cards, like it is in Yu-Gi-Oh! With the Egyptian God cards, or Magic the Gathering when you got Legendary. Pretty much a Light and Dark card pretty much has divine abilities that could do something. That's why they're very short print for Light and Dark cards. So even then, Noctis will never make it on the actual cover of the structure deck, and if they do, it's going to be a much weaker Noctis that's probably either a fire or water, most likely. But the good Noctis will most likely be Future Noctis, but it'd be light, considering how overpowered Future Noctis is. And then also another reason too, would it also make him create a Kingsglaive deck where it's all Kingsglaive members, and you could sacrifice Kingsglaive members to power up Noctis, Prompto, Gladiolus, and Ignis? And what would be the villain deck archetype for Arden? Would it be Niflheim? So would you have to be building a Niflheim deck? And then you would have to make it all one thing. But I'm pretty sure Arden would be a dark most likely, and will not be included in the. It would only be included as an ultra rare in the booster box, considering, you know, Arden most likely will end up a dark. Like I said about dark and light cards, they don't end up in the structure deck most likely. Now I was able to get a light cloud from the Dissidia promo, but that's promo cards. But otherwise, light cards are very the light and dark cards are like some of the most ultra rare cards, because, you know, it's not only the cost to play them, but what it could do for your decks. So, you know, you would have to come up with several archetypes: a Kingsglaive archetype, a Niflheim archetype, and Sovereign Citizen. No pun intended. I just call it Sovereign Citizen because most could be Citizen's deck, you know, probably with the headliner of Cindy or something like that. But either way, you know. And then what about the characters that aren't really mentioned in the game, such as Izunia, Claris, which is Gladiolus' dad, King Regis. You know, because this would also include characters that you'll see, probably Morius Lucius Kylium, Noctis' grandfather. So it would take a lot of work to get 15. Another reason why it's possible that it will never be part of the trading card game opuses. There's so much Final Fantasy 15 thanks to the new DLC and add-on content, you know, that you would have to include every character from all the DLC, Kingsglaive, Brotherhood, every single segment of Final Fantasy 15. So pretty much, yeah, these are the top reasons why I don't think it's possible that Final Fantasy 15 is ever going to get a future opus. Now, it might happen, but this is why it's not going to happen now. So may the crystal be with you. And for anyone who played the trading card game, there's your answers.